Our next speaker is Julie Wagemaker. As I said, she's currently the Deputy Director of the Lew Institute, where she oversees Institute faculty and staff research programming and project development in the areas of conflict and development, environment, global justice, security, and disarmament. She joined the Institute in 2002 and together with Dr. Lloyd Axworthy established the Center for Human Security and the Simon Center for Disarmament and Non-Proliferation Research at the Lew Institute. Prior to joining the Lew Institute, Ms. Wagemakers was the Deputy Executive Director and Program Manager at the Great Lakes Commission at the University of Michigan, where she directed programs on toxic air emissions, the Great Lakes Baltic Sea Partnership, Great Lakes coastal wetlands, Great Lakes toxics and human health, and aquatic exotic species. Ms. Wagemaker's interest in global issues began at the International Institute for Sustainable Development, where her research spanned business and sustainable development, climate change, corporate social responsibility, and trade and investment. She began her career as a technical editor of the Canadian Journal of Fisheries and Aquatic Sciences at Canada's Department of Fisheries and Oceans. She's a graduate of the University of Manitoba with a Bachelor of Science in Microbiology. She's been engaged as an advisor to a number of foundations and organizations, including Panos Canada, the Great Lakes Protection Fund, Earth Negotiations Bulletin Editorial Board, the U.S. EPA, the U.S. Army Corps, Michigan Sea Grant Program, and the Radcliffe Foundation, among others. She's going to share her experience, and you can hear there's a lot of diversity here with us now.
Well, good morning, everyone, and welcome to Vancouver. I wanted to just sort of start my portion with explaining that I've largely worked in the public sector. And I think later on we're going to talk about some of the resources and tools that may be available to you to sort of direct you in what area you might want to go, whether it's private or public. So I think if you're going to be in the public sector, the self-assessment tool is really important for you to sort of figure out, do I want to be in sort of a corporate environment, or do I want to be in a more social environment in terms of delivery of social programs, whether it's education or whether it's working for Canada's resources or whatever. So that part is really important before you leap off into the public sector. My background is really with universities, with government departments, so I've been a public servant for a number of years. And also with, the most fun I've had is really with non-government organizations, or what are called NGOs. And so I wanted to give you a little rundown of my CV, which hopefully inspires some of you to get out there and take some risks and have some fun. I started off as a microbiologist and quickly found, like Denise did, that this is not for me. Spending hours in a lab in the evening got pretty boring. But I found that some of the courses that I took, especially in fourth year, were very helpful for getting me into, who knew, a fisheries lab. And so I don't know how, but you got to keep your ears open and be networking, and then things happen. So I was offered a summer job at the Freshwater Institute, which is part of University of Manitoba. And I, like Denise, had no background other than dissecting fish in a lab. So, but I was very interested in software development, and so a number of the research scientists needed statistical programs figured out for them, so I could do that. And then I ended up babysitting some of the graduate student projects, so that was kind of fun. And that segued into a visit from a woman in Ottawa who was fairly high level in the Department of Fisheries and Oceans, and she came out and she said, I need an editor because my person that I have is going on French training. And so you have this rapport in the region with scientists, and you're interested in communications. I had no editorial background, but she was willing to send me to the NSERC, to the National Sciences Council for training for the summer. So I thought, well, if I move to Ottawa, I'll figure that out later. I can get all this free training, and I can be part of this internationally renowned journal. It is the best journal in the world, bar none, even with the American Fisheries Society journal. So if you're in the scientific realm, you'll know CFHSS. Anyway, so I thought, well, what an opportunity. I'll just take it. And so what I quickly found out is when you take a job like that, you're working 14, 16-hour days. Because I was junior and I just got my training, and so I had to sort of work through that. And that drained me for about 4 years, and I'd had enough of that. So, but it was a really good start for a career. It gave me all the skills. It gave me editorial, it gave me writing, it got me dealing with authors, it got me dealing with presses, and I couldn't think of a better start, actually. And still today, I use that reference. And then I leapt off to forestry in Sault Ste. Marie. One of the points I wanted to make is you can't be scared of going places. I mean, whether it's in Canada or internationally, I mean, if an opportunity comes up and you really think that it's going to be a stepping stone, doesn't matter where in the world it is, you should take it. If that's sort of your sort of personality type. If you want to get to a senior management position quickly, you got to take the opportunities when they're there. So I traveled up to Sault Ste. Marie, and there's nothing going on in Sault Ste. Marie, but I figured 12 months of this and I'm going to have another stepping stone. So I did it, and then returned to Winnipeg and worked for the International Institute for Sustainable Development, which came out of the G8 negotiations in '88 in Halifax, and Mulrooney said, I'm going to throw $30 million at this institution. So I read the press releases and thought, great, I'm going. So moved to Winnipeg, and then that opened up a whole world of international institutions. I went off to every large United Nations facility. I went to the World Bank, and I had the nerve, I guess, to ask for meetings with each of the vice presidents of these organizations. I met with the publisher of the World Bank. I met with the Director General of United Nations Environment Program, Development Program, and I traveled the world for 7 years. Most of that was in establishing programs and projects and areas of research for the IISD. Part of what Diane read of being part of the Earth Negotiations Bulletin. My travels, my work with the IISD started in '92 at the Earth Summit in Rio. And then every 5 years we had negotiations, and then along that way we reported on all United Nations environment and development events. So that was a huge world for me, and I just thought, again, that gave me the stepping stone of knowledge of what is available, what is happening.